right. Welcome, everybody, to the SMB podcast. What's going on, Adam?
Hey-o.
Hey, we are joining all of you from the beautiful, wonderful union offices here in hot as shit Sacramento with our friend Eddie Meehan, co-founder of Wonderful Union and co-founder of Q. Good to have you, buddy.
Oh, hey. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean...
Thanks for having us.
For those of you that don't know...
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know who Eddie is, you probably should, because this guy... I don't know, he's a good guy. He's just a nice guy. He's always doing fun things.
Met him at a bar.
Very generous.
Yeah, I think I actually did meet him at a bar once. So I think I did meet you at a bar.
I've spent some time at bars.
Yeah.
So guilty.
Full disclosure, we used to share office space together in Sacramento.
We did,
Downtown,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
You had to
available
look
again.
at him?
No, he was
No. He was in the better offices upstairs.
different floors, thankfully.
Yeah. So they had to keep things quiet because of what they were doing upstairs with all the famous people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Explain more. No, I'm kind of curious. You can't just leave that and then stare at me and go, what? I'm like, come on.
I mean, so why don't you tell everybody what's going on, what you actually do for a living, good sir?
So, I'm in the fan engagement business. And so doing that, what does that mean? It's essentially everything that touches the relationship from the artist to the fan. And that's, websites, fan clubs, social media, and the majority of it is experiences. So, go to a concert and you buy a VIP ticket and you get snacks and catering and meet the artist and all that stuff. We put those packages together and sell them, whether it's on Ticketmaster or Eventbrite or any other platform, and make sure that fans have a good time. We're financially rewarded for it.
That's cool. So obviously you get to travel to the shows with your clients, and you get to go out on signings, obviously to make sure that you're bringing on new services and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, go out and make sure everybody's happy, which it's not always the easiest thing to do, to make everyone happy, but go out, experience it, and spend time at shows around fans, and come back, bring it here to beautiful hot Sacramento, and come up with new ideas.
Nice.
What's the weirdest fan request you've had? Obviously, when you've got people and you're introducing them to the artist. As a tour manager, I used to have to stop some really creepy people from kind of engaging too much.
Well,
with some of the artists. So
there's a couple of things, like weird requests versus just weird shit. A weird request is, there's I've seen fans who, women who, example, get autographs on them and they get on their ass, and maybe they go and get them tattooed. It's just like those type of things. You're like, I don't know, but that's a real thing.
That's a buyer. That's a fan.
Do you want to see my tattoo?
Show me your private
That's how I
tattoo.
Yeah.
But there are other things. We've had experiences with one popular female artist I worked with. A guy showed up to a meet and greet with tape and rope and ball gag. It's just like, what the hell were you going to do with that? So it's like, and that was like 10 years ago.
Tuesday.
But so you
Can
see,
we ask who that was?
that was with the artist Selena Gomez.
Okay.
And so that was just, and it's one of those things where obviously security, it never got to her. Everything was, but you see a lot of that where fans are just nuts. And there's a documentary. I don't know if it's on Netflix, if it's on the internet somewhere. It's called, I Think We're Alone Now. And it is a documentary that actually follows three different fans of the pop star Tiffany. And it goes in through, one of them is going through a complete plastic surgery, sex change this guy to look like her and be like her. Another one is completely fascinated with her, and another one just follows her around. And it's like, so there's a level of fanaticism that you have to find that balance in there where it's a little in the middle. It's not, you don't want to just give in too much.
Yeah.
And then they'll just
give an inch.
Yeah. Then you've got crazies.
Yeah. Well, there are definitely crazies. Trust me. I work with a few A-list movie stars, and there's one story. I can't name the name of the movie star, but I'm putting her on a plane, and she gets off the plane, and I'm listening to the conversation between her husband and a security guard. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, hey, is the guy there? And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, this guy's been stalking her house. Straight up been in the front yard of her house. Mm-hmm. I'm like, the fans get to a point where this just becomes so engaged.
They don't know because the relationship with in Hollywood and acting is kind of the same, different, but still the same. The fanaticism, they don't know the line between reality and just entertainment, like where you have, we're in the escapism business, it's going to a concert, listening to a song, watching a movie. And when you have somebody who, they get up in the morning, they get in their car, they listen to their favorite artist over and over and over again. They go to their office, they probably listen to it in their headphones, and it's part of their intimate day-to-day life. Yeah. And when you take it, but the artist is just producing a product, which is, the music. And so that line, if you let it go too far, it can get really bad. And I know some really great fans who travel around the world, and we work with so many different artists, and I see in each artist, there's a group of them that will travel to Colombia, to Australia, to South Africa. I've seen them in Israel, the Middle East. You see these same fans, and it's a good place for them, and it's escapism, but there are some people where it just breaks, and you're like, whoa. Yeah. Those are the ones we try to stay away from.
I'm gonna take this fan engagement thing to a different level. So I tour manage a lot of K-pop artists.
Oh yeah.
And when I stopped tour managing full time, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm sick and tired of being away 300 days a year. I want a family. I want to sit down. And so I moved into aviation, but I got brought back into it, sucked back into it by tour managing K-pop, which I thought was like, I got into it right as the bubble was coming up.
It's a big bubble.
I lucked out. I had a right place, right time scenario with a few different people. And next thing I know, I'm spending maybe 30, 40 days a year away, which is better than the 300 that I was doing beforehand. But the high touch was have you ever heard of this? A high touch?
No, go on. I don't.
Okay. The VIP special of
K-pop. This is the one thing, and it only happens in K-pop music, is where they have a table, and instead of having a meet and greet, like, hey, take a photo, the meet and greet takes what? Maybe
it's about 15 seconds.
15 seconds, 20 seconds. Basically what they do is they sell a VIP package, and then high touch. You high five the artist, and they literally walk you around in a circle in the middle of the venue. High five, and they charge you $150 to $250 to do this for a high five.
Sold.
All right, I like that.
Well, this was the thing. I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, I've never seen this before in my entire life. Like,
I've never heard that term. I've seen where there are events where people pay for, like, before the show to come into a sound check thing, and maybe there'll be like a little they're in the same area, it's an intimate area, but never that's it's very K-pop, very calculated. I like that.
It's ingenious.
Yeah,
we did a show, where is it? The Fonda. I'm going to bring back this. Evan Thomas, the production manager for the Fonda. He'd never done a K-pop show before, and I was like, just wait until you see this shit. And we can. I think it's like 900 or 1,000 people in there. They were selling $400 high touches. 800 people.
That's phenomenal.
Paid for the high touch out of all the tickets in the venue.
And they just want that connection. And their friends probably taking a photo of it. They've got
no photos.
No photos? Oh,
no photos allowed.
Even better.
No, it's the way that we do it was you basically snake the line inside the venue, and then you snake the line out past the merch, out the door. So the only time they can stop between
is the merch.
And straight out the door.
Yeah.
Genius.
It's
It's crazy, but it's only K-pop,
Yeah, that's very and it would work in that the demographic. If you had a country artist or an American pop artist, I think there'd be a little bit of backlash on that. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to give it a try.
Yeah, somebody like Toby Keith or even like the Taylor Swift stuff, that they'd have to have a photo with them.
There'd have to be something. People would be really upset,
especially for like $1,000 VIP or $5,000 VIP package or whatever it may be. It's just
the expectation level is so high, and when somebody's spending $2,000, they expect 20 minutes. Which is understandable because it is a lot of money, and it's also their escapism. That's something to look forward to, and something that like they'll remember that moment for the rest of their lives. But same with the high five.
Have you guys been? We had Greg Patterson on earlier.
Greg. I know Greg.
Yeah. Well, obviously you guys were co-founders of the same companies.
He's My dude.
Have you guys been doing any of the Livestream VIP packaging? Have you been doing any of that stuff, like to maybe expand off of what they're doing with that platform, or what have you guys been doing? I guess essentially the last 6 months, since there really is nothing.
We it's funny you ask. We did launch back in April. We had our own platform that we launched called On Location Live, because we are Wonderful Union is part of the Endeavor network, which we own On Location, and it's
Sorry.
yeah, just
Sorry.
So yeah, we launched that in April, and it's kind of the same thing. We have some partnerships. We do meet and greets, digital meet and greets, using Looped and whatnot. But it's it's definitely been a slower period of business for us than we've had in 15 years. So
It's hard on everybody.
it's really hard. It's funny. This last week we actually had an on sale for our first on sale in 6 months for Usher in Las Vegas next year, the residency.
Nice.
And give a little plug out there to our friends at Live Nation in Las Vegas.
Hey,
And,
good people.
great people. And
Is that Paul McGuigan?
it is Amanda Moore
Amanda
and
Moore,
Billy.
okay.
Yeah, it's the dream team. And it was just weird to have something go live. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Usually there was 5 or 6 a week we'd always have, and it's been months and months of a hard time. So
Yeah, but with all the downtime, again, I had been asking everybody what have they been doing with your downtime, but with all the downtime, like, has it just not said that the on sales are, it's kind of more on point now? You've kind of cleaned out the mechanism a little bit, maybe, or is it the opposite? Are you feeling you're a little more loose?
it's a little different because we're not staffed up to where we normally are. So it's a little, everybody's kind of wearing different hats. It reminds me a lot of back in the 2006, 2007 era of the company, where we were much smaller and everybody, is doing a bunch of different stuff,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a little different, but it's exciting. And a lot of our tours, we have everything we had this summer moved to next year. So, Molly Cruz Stadium Tour, Backstreet Boys Tour, Matchbox 20. There's probably 15, 20 tours that all just booted to next year. So, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, next year might make up for the lack of this year. That's what I'm hoping.
When do you think it's going to come back? And I've been asking a few people, but
I mean, it's just a guess because I'm not a scientist.
just a guess.
And I
Just a
fully
guess.
believe in science, but I think end of next year, early 2022, probably 2022, where things are relatively here domestically. I think internationally, it's going to be a little bit before that. Probably that would be more the later part of next year.
You're talking about major touring, though, right? Like arenas and stuff like that.
I think first it will be clubs and then theaters and then like a lot of people will do some underplays and then, I think getting 50,000 people into a stadium is going to be, it's going to be a minute. And I also think that the streaming stuff that, we're doing, the Veeps are doing, other companies out there, I think that's going to play into it because there is going to be some PTSD. There's also going to be some people have embraced it. People are used to watching it now. It's really a crash course in it. So I think having the shows, even if they're underplays, it will still allow it to tap into larger audiences at home. People who are, I haven't spent this much time at home in my entire adult life.
yeah, I know, right?
It's like,
well, what's your morning routine now?
I get up whenever I want. I don't set an alarm. It's a couple days a week I have calls and stuff, but I'm weird. I actually get up and when I'm here, I just come into the office and I'll, I like a little bit of normality, but it's like this. There's no one really here. So come in and just call people, talk to people, check in on people. It's really kind of what the last couple months have been, just saying, hey, what's going on?
It's good to keep people's mental health going too. That's it. I think that's so important right now.
Yeah, exactly. And just talking to people. And, so many of my friends have been furloughed or laid off, and it's a weird time in the industry because you don't ever have a period where it's like a ton of great talent is available, right? But there's no work, but they're not working. And so it's like, I'm really interested. The most exciting part is to see what comes out of this. Mm-hmm. This is the first time in my adult life as well, where it's like everything has stopped. Nothing, it's never been like for everyone. And so what is the output of that going to look like? What are these new companies? And you're seeing it with new agencies popping up and, coming from larger agencies. And, I think that it's a trip. It's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, they definitely launched the new agency you're talking about, the TBA or TBD or whatever they.
And I think there'll be a lot. There'll be other ones too. I'm sure that will.
There's so many going to pop up.
Gotta
be
be
crazy.
Because the large agencies, which full disclosure, we are part of William Morris. The large agencies, there's no business, and so people are like, there's the furlough. It's a natural thing at a period like this where I think, in agencies and management companies, there'll be some management companies that can't survive this because they're not making any money. And who can go 2 years without making any money?
Yeah, nobody.
It's impossible.
Well, not nobody. Just the upper echelon can do it. It's just going to be tight for everybody, even on the lower levels for sure. So,
and even the upper echelon are laying off people, furloughing people. So their teams are much smaller.
Yeah.
This episode of SNB Podcast brought to you by Veeps. For artists, by artists, always commission free. For a full list of upcoming shows, visit Veeps.com.
Agent Live 360, the world's first and only publicly offered CRM software designed specifically for sports agents.
AL360 is an incredible state-of-the-art software that does everything from keeping track of clients, professional, and college teams, to even company finances and client return on investment.
This system does it all. Visit agentlive360.com for full details.
Go check it out.
It'll be interesting to see the outcomes, and like you said too, with the new people popping up, that's the first announcement of definitely many that are going to be coming. So, and then people are starting to launch into multiple different streams of, creating different revenue and creating different income for themselves. And some people just completely getting out of the industry. I think there's going to be a huge influx of people that are just going to be like, hey,
I'm a plumber.
there's a
seriously,
there's a band.
I've got a lot of friends.
A very famous band that I probably shouldn't mention because I don't know if they want that mentioned, but they're two of them are full-time plumbers, and now they're like, I'm making $100,000 a year, fishing toilets. Why am I going to go back on the road to eat shit and just live in a bus?
Yeah, and they get to be home every day, and there's a part of that where they're
they
probably
can see their kids.
Yeah, it's like, wow, okay, because when you're traveling all the time, you don't notice that you're missing. You miss your kids, obviously, you miss your wives, your family, etc. But being home for this long, I'm sure it'd be. Even me, like I've had to fly somewhere and it was, a 2-hour flight. It felt like forever. And I'm normally, I do 150,000 miles a year flying, and it's like, this flight seems like it's, you're so used to not doing anything, the travel and it'll be interesting. Yeah, for sure.
That's actually really interesting. Do you think that American Airlines, Delta, all those people are going to let people keep their points?
Better. I got a lot of freaking points.
Is your status, are you going to be able to skip that line next year? Or are they just going to be like, nope.
They booted. They gave me, so just because of traveling, I have status with American. I'm executive platinum. They bumped my status. They credited me a bunch of points for EQMs, and they also pushed me into 2022, so it doesn't expire. Keep my status. And then Marriott added 90 nights because I have ambassador with them, so they gave me 90 night credits, so I get to keep my status in another year.
Oh, that's great.
So like they're thinking, obviously, if everybody all of a sudden out of a pandemic, nobody has any status, the loyalty is going to go away.
United gave me 100,000 miles to make sure I was happy, which was incredible. And then they gave me two. Because this year
they're still around next year,
they will be. 16,000 people sounds like a lot of people, but you know how many people work at United? It's crazy.
So this morning, American Airlines laid off 8,600 flight attendants alone, just the flight attendants. So I know this because I
know.
I can't say who.
You can tell the people that you work
at.
It's okay.
They are no. But American Airlines are going to start going.
Yeah.
You would think that, but I guarantee that just like United, they laid all those people off and their stock went up almost $6.
Pan Am can never fail. TWA never fail. Look, what are we doing now?
Well, Pan Am got sold, so still, yeah.
But I'm saying is that no one during all this.
I agree.
Here's a little tip in regards to travel as well. I went ahead and I called American Express, my platinum card, and had them give me a credit on my annual fee because I'm not traveling. So if you have any credit cards or anything,
I got a platinum card.
Yeah, call them and be like, "Hey, I'm not traveling," And I think they gave me $350 back.
Really?
Ooh. Just a little tip.
Is it because of your lounge fees, or what is that for?
Yeah, I just say like I'm not traveling. I'm not, using the lounges. I'm not, and they're like, "Oh, okay." And I gotta,
I think that's what United did because I have all United cards, so I just keep doing that. Then they gave me that credit, but they gave me an extra year of lounge passes. Yeah. So whatever,
It's turning into a points and
I just want the
points.
The
point game is half of the battle.
No, the points game's where it's at.
That's
especially when you're touring, you're looking at the guy that doesn't have enough points, so he's the one sitting in the back, and you're just like, yo, man, I got those points. First class. Moving on a little bit. How did you get into all this? How did you get into saying, hey, listen, I want to supply VIP packages? What was the catalyst, shall we say?
It goes back. I started back in a little small town now, Sacramento. I had some friends, Greg, who you guys know, and I, long story short, met some friends who were doing websites. Happened to know a lot of people in the industry, and hustling those flash websites back in the day where you'd go and they looked like movies. They didn't really do anything, and it was around the era of MySpace, and we just started building a platform, and fan clubs were kind of a big thing, and so we got into the relationship business with artists. We're doing their websites, we're doing their fan clubs, and it was probably like 2007 or so. I had a client who came to me and said, you're doing the fan club, you're doing tickets. What would you think about doing some sort of paid meet and greet? And the conversation had gone back and forth where, and it was a very good friend of mine, Jen, who still works with me. She's manager for Backstreet Boys, and that was the client. And we had discussed back in the day, the radio station would request meet and greets. So you'd give them away so people listen to the radio, and then the band would give it to the radio station to get spins. Yeah. Very basic. It doesn't really exist anymore. That's a kind of an older school thing. But so it was like, well, you're doing these meet and greets anyway, and these girls are crying and fainting and losing their shit. It's like, just sell them. And they're like, okay, we'll sell 40 a night for $250. Just kind of made up a price and went with it. And by the end of that tour, which was probably 150, 200 dates globally on the tour, it was an extra $4 or $5 million, somewhere in that ballpark. And it was just where there were a couple other companies doing stuff, and maybe it was like a sound check with a T-shirt, right? And it was based around the fan club because you have all these fans in a database, and you can sell it to them, and so it just kind of naturally progressed. And having conversations with the other artists that were already on board that we might be doing their website for, or doing their fan club with, being like, hey, why don't you sell your meet and greets? And to be honest, like, a lot of people didn't want to do it. It was corny. It's like, I'm not going to charge my fans to meet them. That's a sacred thing. And I remember the very first artist I ever met was completely by mistake. It was this is going to age myself, 1991. And I was sitting outside of the Henry J. Kaiser in Oakland. And I still have the 8x10 signed, right? But I was with my buddy, and we were waiting for his dad to come pick us up after it was a Slayer, Anthrax, and Public Enemy show.
Sick.
It was a great show.
Is that the Raining Blood tour? I mean, that had to be 91, right?
91. It might have been either South. I think South of Heaven into Seasons. I can't remember. Seasons was that was when they're in arenas.
Yeah.
But I think it was, because it was around that era, the best era. And
that's when thrash was massive.
It was
that's
huge.
Like the Metallica at their peak with the Black Album in 91 and all that stuff.
I just cut out here.
Did you
too?
I cut out?
No, everything.
No. It's because your headphone jack. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
You're back.
It's the headphone jack.
So
I also think
Wacky Jack.
It was also to set the mood. It was the week of the Oakland fires. I don't know if any of you have been in Bay Area, Northern California, long enough to remember that, but there are some huge fires in Oakland that burned down tons of houses. Doesn't matter. So we're sitting out there waiting for his dad to pick us up, and some dude comes off. But he's like, "You guys just hang out right here. Be cool. And we're like, "That's what we're doing." We're probably stoned. We're like, "Yeah, you can't tell, like,
yeah, I'm cool.
We're cool." And then he came back like 5 minutes later. He's like, "Come on." We're like, "What?" All right. So we get on the tour bus and we meet Slayer. And like they come in, and it's just me and him, two teenage kids, and we left. We're like, whoa! And it's just like one of those moments, And then as I got older, I mean, Metallica, and growing up in the Bay Area, you meet all the metal bands and stuff. And so, fast forwarding to the simplicity of with Backstreet and with other artists, like the hardest part for years was to, after that, talk artists into doing it. Mm-hmm. I had one rock group who didn't want to do it, and finally they talked them into doing it, and they didn't want to organize because it seemed too corporate. But once they got paid, and I don't want to say the name of them, but once they got paid, then the next thing you know, it's a step and repeat. You know, it's like, you know, and then
turn that wheel, baby. Yeah. Keep that money flowing.
And then we were doing it, you know, we've been doing it for 12 plus years now.
Congrats.
Thank you. And the new generation of artists, it's just a normal thing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
everybody's doing it now.
Yeah.
And there's all these different companies that are popping up that are trying to imitate what you guys essentially were doing. So
and there were a couple companies going back to, like, you know, CID, Dan had his company over there, and you know, there was David Berger is another one who had his company, and we all competed in the same space on business. But you know, fast forward to 2020, we're all part of the same company and organization now. So it's really interesting.
It was neat to see you guys kind of battling it out there for a few years, and now you guys are all working together for the greater good, right?
Working together for the greater good, yeah, 100%.
That's good. So with all the travel you've been doing then, I mean, or that you haven't been doing, like, what are you missing most about the road? Because you're on the road constantly. Like, whenever we talk, you're always doing something. So, like, the day I text you and you're in, oh, hey, I'm in Japan, I'll text you back. Or, oh, I just landed in Germany, man. Let me hit you back in a couple of minutes. And then it's like...
Travel is the best part, where you get to go out and whether it's setting up businesses, because we have partners in all different parts of the world that work with us on global touring. And whether it's Japan, we have a great partnership with PIA over there, which is like the Ticketmaster of Japan, or Germany, or wherever. The hardest part is not, it's a mixture of traveling and experiencing their culture and how people engage at concerts and going to a show. And, like, you know, Europe is much different than, you know, the US is different than South America, like, in going into these territories and understanding them, and then also meeting the promoters. And I've learned over the years that when you meet these people face to face, they kind of let you do it. You can experiment a little bit more. They trust you. You're not just an email or a phone call. So a part of it is just not learning anything. It's been, you know, I literally flew back into the United States from Sao Paulo, Brazil on the 16th of March. I was down in South America for a stadium tour, and to watch, you know, the whole COVID thing, like, everything was normal in Brazil, and it still might be, according to
they don't believe it's real though.
They don't believe it's real. But, you know, one day we're hanging out in Rio at the beaches, you know, had a stadium show. The next day flew to Sao Paulo, and, you know, I remember going to that show on the 14th where everybody had their masks on, and you're like, this is getting weird. And then the show was canceled, and coming back home and not realizing that would be my last international trip for who knows how long. You know, like, I felt like
the only place you can pretty much go to right now is the UK, right? We can't go to Europe.
We can go to Croatia. We can go to Croatia. We can go to Turkey.
You can go to Mexico and Aruba.
Yeah.
Aruba's cool. It's small.
I'll go to Aruba. I mean, it's not going to be bad.
But you can't even go to Hawaii. That's the thing. Yeah. You can go, but you're going to be sitting in that room. So I had a story with a guy that I know actually had his father-in-law came and got arrested. They came and they were like, oh, he's not home. He went to go get groceries.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't do that. They will show up at your house and they will track you down. And, you know, where else are we going to go? Where do you want to go? That's the whole point is like, do people even want? Yeah, I know people want to travel, but it's not necessarily the most responsible thing right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of the key thing. I know I would love to be sitting on the beach somewhere in southern Italy right now.
Yeah.
I did.
Would it be a good idea? Probably not.
I did. I took a little bit of I did. So to answer your question and being completely transparent here, in May I did go with one of my clients down to southern Florida and spent 2 months in Key West. So it was like fishing and hanging out, and that was.
But that was your bubble, though, right? Like, it's not like you were going to the bars and partying.
No. Yeah. I just rented a little house with a little pool, and, like, you know, my friend has a boat, and so we were able to go fishing and spend some time, and it was really nice to get away. But then after still 2 months, you're like, I need to get out of here. You know that. You know, I'm used to being at home for 7 to 10 days and then going somewhere else. You know, I go to LA every Monday. Like, you know, New York. I haven't been to New York since February. That's ridiculous. Like, you know,
my dad lives in the city, and I couldn't see him. I didn't want to go. I don't want to be that guy that gets on an airplane and takes it to him. I've heard so many horror stories about that I was just like, listen. Chill, Dad. Your weed dealer is the only guy that you're going to see for the next 8 months. So get to know him really, really well. And then it's, you know.
Yeah.
Cat clothing for all the cat lovers in us.
Visit catclothing.net for their full line of cat-inspired clothes.
Hoodies, shirts, tanks, shorts, and even fitness gear are now fully in stock for the fall and winter season.
Again, visit catclothing.net today. Check it out. Thanks, everybody.
Meow, meow.
So yeah, it's antsy, but I've thought about taking a road trip. Getting in the car and just driving somewhere. I don't know.
Are you going to be one of the RV people? Since RV rentals are up 300 to 400% right now?
Did buy some Camping World stock.
Really? Marcus
good
Lemonis,
idea.
I'm sure,
Marcus,
says thank you. Yeah.
Profit, man.
Yeah.
I'm all about that profit. But yeah.
Which that sucks that there's no new episodes of that,
Yeah, it does.
And there's no new episodes of Billions. It just pisses me off.
Yeah, I know.
love that
And
show.
they just stopped it halfway through.
Well, they had to. They film it in two
Yeah.
different parts. I don't know. Do you watch Billions or not? On
don't.
Showtime? Okay. Either way, they film the show halfway through the season so that they can play the second half of it. So they've only played 7 episodes. And since there's nobody out in New York, they can't film the second half of it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's
Episode
driving
7
me crazy. I know.
Stopped.
And even if they filmed it, it's going to be like weird. Everybody's sitting on the sidewalk eating. Like nothing's, nothing's right.
What's going on over there? Nothing. They're filming a show. Okay, cool. Whatever. Yeah, it's the world is just definitely there's not a lot of normalcy. We can talk about COVID till we're blue in the face, but
Yeah, guys, everybody knows.
yeah. So, what are you going to do? Obviously, you're traveling. You might be traveling here in the next few weeks, which that's great. But when the sense of normalcy happens again, what does that look like to you? What will the normalcy look like to you? Are you going to be back on a plane all the time? Or are you going to be going out to dinner somewhere? Like what is you doing something?
I have absolutely no idea. That's if I'm being completely honest. Like I don't even know. I can get into all kinds of theories and stuff, but like honestly, I hope it trickles back slowly. I hope you start to I'm going to go down to LA and meet with some people and just have conversations and try to you still talk to them on the phone, but like sitting around socially distanced, obviously, having a drink and talking outside at a restaurant is going to get you more results than being on the phone and finishing that conversation. So I feel like maybe just like getting out there and talking to people is going to help figure out what the next phase is. Because for us, in the VIP and the experience business, concerts will come back, right? And merchandising will come back, right? But the stuff that we do is going to be the last thing to come back because you look at our economy. I'm not going to get into politics, but you look at the economy, and a lot of the people who buy our products are, they're not multimillionaires. They're a lot of paycheck to paycheck people I meet, and also the artists aren't going to feel comfortable, and I'm not going to feel comfortable convincing them to go out and I do a line of 200 people and they're getting kissed on the cheek 200 times. You know what I mean?
Not
Like
gonna
it's
happen.
and what are you going to do? Put them in little plastic boxes and so
Yes.
it's going to be like your high five. It's going to be,
We were thinking about that. It's the same thing. I mean, to answer your question, almost, you're going to probably have to have a plexiglass, kiss them on the cheek, knock them off with a piece of plexiglass. I mean, what else can you do?
I don't know. And that's kind of like, what we're trying to figure out and watch. And, I try not to overtake in news and what's going on. But like, as you have a vaccine and the first responders and the elderly and all those people get their vaccines, our business is going to be the last one. Ticketing will come back, concerts will come back, and we will be the last one to add everything. Restaurants will be up to 90%, 100% capacity. And we're going to feel this for a long time in this space, the experiences. And being part of such a large company, it makes it the brunt of it a little bit easier. But we've got massive events we do. We've got all of our touring stuff here. We we're part of the company that we own the Super Bowl, so that is a big part of our business, is doing all the experiences around the Super Bowl. We've got our events in Mexico. We do, and we can't so how do we get into that? We're gonna have to figure it out.
Well, I mean, couldn't you do it? I'm just throwing out some ideas here. Don't shoot the messenger, but if you had said last year that people would be selling virtual shows, what would you have said? You would have been like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
we're going to be selling
I'd be
tickets to watching somebody on YouTube. Couldn't you put 30 people in a room and have a camera with the artist and then have a screen up and have them talk to them through a screen? I mean, I'm just,
you could, and it's funny. Like I had ideas in the past, and friends of mine have come to ideas where, I work with artists who don't like meet and greets. And it's like, okay, well, stick an iPad on one of those segways and remote control it. And the artist can come in the room and say hi over the iPad in real time. And like, there's things like that we've talked about and joked around. But no, a year ago, I had opportunities to invest in a lot of these different companies and things that were stream based or virtual. And I'm like, it's never, nothing. And, I think other people have said it too. It's like nothing will ever kill the live experience. It's like, well, no, we're wrong. That was wrong.
I know.
But 7 months ago, there's no way we were even thinking about this. It's just, wow, this came out of nowhere. Now let's try and adapt to it,
So to answer your question, it's like, I think you can do different things, but over time, hopefully we'll get back to normal. Yeah. And when normal is, it's going to be different. It's like flying after 9/11.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember before you could walk up to you can meet your friends at the gate when they land. It's
take off your shoes.
Now it's going to the mall with metal detectors.
Yeah.
More metal detectors than on the mall.
Yeah. But you still can leave your shoes on and the laptop in the bag in Australia. They do not give a shit about that.
Well, I knew that, but you can do that here in America too, as long as you have pre-check.
They have pre-check, but they don't give a shit.
Yeah, but if you go to the UK, all those little plastic bags and how
the bottles drive me
so
nuts.
Annoying.
It's terrible.
Nothing really annoys me as much as the Heathrow airport security, because I don't have little bags, and it's like somebody's getting paid on those bags. Yeah. I'm convinced.
Yeah. No, my girlfriend had to have. I was like, listen, you only got to have one, and I never take. Like I spent 23 years of my life living in London. My mom still lives there, and I took my girlfriend back, and she's packaging all these fucking toiletries, and I'm like, "You're not going to be okay." She's like, "It'll be okay," and I was like,
"No,
it's not going to be okay. Trust me."
No.
And we got him in. I got him into the UK, but then I had to take her onto a flight to Croatia.
Oh yeah, they're not letting it.
And she was like, "It'll be fine, right? We got him in." I was like, "It's your fucking choice. I'm not going to tell you. I'm telling you no." We get there, and they're like, She's looking at me like,
they make her dump.
You didn't tell me. I'm like, I fucking told you. Like, I don't know. And she's like, do I take this? Do I take this? This is worth a lot of money. I'm like, you got a choice here. you got one little bag.
Yeah, it's. So, yeah.
If you can go out of Stansted, they're usually pretty lenient there. But Heathrow sucks.
They have like 11 fingers.
Yeah, no.
Stansted, Luton.
It's true.
Yeah, some countries you can get away with. They don't even check.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a whole nother.
Japan, definitely. Japan's a tough one. So
they do.
Yeah.
They do everything perfect in Japan.
Yeah. Yes, they do. They really do.
Especially the food.
Yeah.
Oh, Japanese food's best in the world.
Spain's pretty great, man.
Portugal's
great too.
There's a lot of things about Asia that I think is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Jump in here, Eddie. Come on, you've been everywhere.
No, I agree with you. It is the cleanliness, the organization. You walk on this side of the street. Going back to airport talk, like don't stand in the middle of the damn escalator.
Yeah.
Pick one fucking side.
Yeah.
And pick the right side and let me walk past you if you want. And like every single detail of everything they do is phenomenal. I'm a big fan.
I do like Singapore. If you bring drugs here, we'll kill you. But have a great time while you're here.
That's a lot of Asia. Indonesia.
But it says it right on the ticket when you get to Singapore airport. It's like, if you have drugs, we'll kill you.
Same thing with Bali.
Bali does that too. Yeah.
Yeah. No drugs. Don't.
Yeah. That's fine. Buy your drugs while you're there. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Exactly. Why do you need to bring them in? They're better there.
I get it.
So yeah, next year, I don't know. Hopefully the travel comes back, and I think it will, and I think we'll get back to. It's going to take a couple of years, but. I don't see mainstream touring in the business of where it was on March 12th coming back till 2022.
No,
I don't know, and I'm not a scientist, and I'm not,
I agree with you.
Have you had any of your clients really vying to try and push to get themselves out? I know that Metallica just did their drive-in shows. Did you guys have any part in that? No,
we didn't. And through our CID team, we do the Metallica stuff, but we didn't have anything to do with that. I saw that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They did it the right way because it was in drive-ins all over the place.
Yeah.
They did it at the winery out in Sonoma. We didn't have anything to do with that. But what was your question?
The question was: has anybody been pushing to say, "I want to get out on the road and do this"?
No,
can we figure something else out?
I saw there were some country artists that were going out.
Chase Rice did his thing, but he got really beat up on it
because you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's let's take a minute and you've got to get rid of.
Don't push people into.
Yeah,
we talked about this on a previous episode too, where it as agents and as managers, we have the product that people want. and they're gonna go. I mean, look at Sturgis. People are gonna go.
Oh,
Half
yeah.
a million people went. Chase Rice, 8,000 people went to that show. So do we?
But look at their audience.
Yeah, and their
I know,
audience.
but their audience is just because they're dumb. Does that mean that we shouldn't provide them that? I'm not sorry. The fans, I'm sure they're very good people. Whatever on
sure
both
they're
sides. Good, fine people on both sides.
Not saying anybody's dumb. Nobody's dumb.
Yeah, we'll stop. But I'm saying, like, if we can provide that, should we hold it back because then we protect them?
Yes.
Or, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. And it's destroying our industry, but we shouldn't. Going to a concert, going to an event should be a safe place. Obviously, we've had so much tragedy in the last several years with the Bataclan shooting in Paris, the bombing in Manchester, other events like that have, that have created some hesitation. And I had a friend who was in the Bataclan shooting and lost him. And I think when I'm
Andrew.
No, Nick. You know Nick is a merch guy.
guy.
Yeah, Nick. So Nick used to help us out and do all of our English stuff. So when we needed merchandising, he would manufacture it and work with our team here. And so, like, just thinking about it and being in a venue that is packed, and sometimes I think about that, right? And so, but you can't just say, if we're putting these products together, it's like having cars and no seatbelts on it. Like we have a responsibility as well to bring these large amounts of people, and then the trust. If they don't trust us and we're putting on these concerts and it's like, all of a sudden it's everybody's getting sick. It's like that falls on the managers and the agents and the promoters and, all of us. Well, people won't want to come to shows.
Mm-hmm.
It damages it. It will even do more damage long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
But I do think at the same time, the drive-in, Metallica, that was cool what they did. Big fan of the band, obviously, as a kid. But like some of the stuff too, I'm not going to get in my car. I don't want to go to a drive-in in my car.
Yeah.
I go to concerts and drink.
That's it. Like, you're basically saying to people, hey, drive your car here, get drunk, drive
home, and
yeah.
It's like I'll just go hang out with my friends in the neighborhood.
You're tempting fate. Like, I'm seeing a lot of this stuff in Europe where it's like drive-in rave. What do kids do at raves?
Drugs.
Take a bunch of drugs. So you're basically like, here, we're going to get a whole bunch of kids taking a bunch of ecstasy, drive in. Good luck. Drive home.
Good luck. Yeah. What'd you think of the UK show with the pods?
I mean, I get it's something to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to that show. I don't
don't
care who's
either.
playing. It's like, it's just weird. I mean, I guess you're so far back and you're I don't know. And people are trying. That's the thing. And people want to go out. And I think that the industry will return when it's safe and when everybody, part of it is too, maybe some of this is politicized here in America. I don't know.
It definitely is. I mean, it is in Brazil where he came from too. I mean,
100%.
the president's a denier of the virus even happening, and then he got it, right? Or
Yeah.
something?
Also a drug dealer.
Well, let's not get crazy on this thing.
The
We don't
guy's
want
a nutcase.
We don't need people coming after us.
Yes. On a more fun note, who are your favorite clients to be working with? Who are your, I don't want to say least favorite because that's a bad question to ask, but who are
only
your
positive.
favorite clients?
The positive side.
Yeah, the positive. I don't say who's negative.
Yeah.
Because there are no negative.
So everybody you're going to not
Everybody's-
say is the negative. Got it.
Everybody is great.
Just
Since starting the company, 10, 12, 13 years, I don't even know how many years ago, we've worked with over 800 different artists. So there's a lot throughout the years that we've worked with, and like 90% of it, the relationships have been good. There are some of those where, you get burnout, and there are some higher maintenance clients, but usually the higher maintenance ones pay you. So kind of like take it in that. But, working with the Drake team is always, those guys are always super cool. Like, it's everybody, like, there's a level of work, and then just around good people that you feel like, there's loyalty, and like which is kind of hard in this industry, as you guys know.
Absolutely. Especially at the arena level, it's tough.
The arena level, it's hard. Timberlake crew, Backstreet, there's and this is one that would know what he would expect, the Pauly D. Like, I've worked with him years ago, and I find myself like going out and hanging out, and the dude is like the nicest guy, and I love hanging out with him. There's always a bottle there to drink and hang out, and you're just like, this is the weirdest. I'd never even watched the TV show. I just got to know him from working with him. And so, there are some interesting, I got a little interesting clique of people that I
mean, you hang out with the people that everybody wants to hang out with. So clearly,
That's
it's
my job is to sell it to them, and
It's really funny. So I know a few guys in the Aerosmith crew, and one of them was like, calls me up and he was like, "Hey, can you get my wife in to see Pauly D?" I'm like, "What
from Aerosmith?"
Fuck? One of the guys in the Aerosmith crew. I'm not going to name names because he probably doesn't want me to announce this on public forum. But he was like, "Yeah, can you get me a wife in to see Pauly D?" And I was like, "No." I have no idea. Why would you think that I have any connection? So next time,
let me know.
Next time, I'm definitely going to be like, "Yo, Rusty."
Rusty. Hey everybody, it's Trevor and Adam.
We want you to check out Dynamic Talent International, the boutique booking agency with a personal attention to their clients' needs.
From music talent, seminars, podcasts, and YouTube, DTI represents a wide range of incredible clients.
Visit dynamictalentint.com for a full roster list and contact information. Go check it out.
But there are, lots of great clients. I mean, the Toto guys were always fun. Kenny Chesney, we worked with him years ago. I don't know. They're all pretty. I mean, it's this. I'm the kid who, growing up, I would read. And it's funny. I was talking to Greg, who you guys know, the other day. Like, I have a bunch of records, and I've been at home a lot, so I've been listening to records, and I actually reread the liner notes, which I did as a kid. I used to I was so obsessed with music, I could tell you on the cassette tape, the smell of it, what label it was on, because they had different smells. It sounds weird as shit, and I'm a little weird, but
no, it's totally true.
The type of print on the, this is from Columbia House. This is garbage. You know what I mean? Compared to getting a real vinyl, and even now, there's some albums I get that are reprints, and I don't like it when they change the credits.
Yeah,
I don't like that. It bothers me. It's weird. But I was reading. I was just reading some. I don't know where was I going with this story. What was your question?
I didn't ask a question. You were going with it.
I don't know where I was going.
You were talking about how you've been at home listening to a lot of new music lately. Your albums.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
You have, so. And
just going through liner notes of my obsession as a kid and reading and listening to records, and now going through those same liner notes and knowing a lot of the people in there. Yeah. So, and knowing those people, I know where I was going with this. Seeing and knowing those people as a kid, I'd be like, that's how do you even get in touch with this? Now that they're old timers, which full respect to, but it is a dream job of being able to be in this space of working around these people. So even the bad clients, and I tell my staff sometimes, I'm just like, shh, just let it go away. That's, that this isn't, they're not supposed to be easy. This isn't supposed to be easy, but it's.
And also what you're doing essentially though, which is great, I think, is you're improving the quality of life for the fans. A lot of these kids or people would not have had the opportunity to even meet these people at all. And what you've done is essentially created a business, which, they have to pay for it, but so would I when I was a kid. You're giving somebody the opportunity to do something that they would have never, ever had the ability to do beforehand, which could change somebody's life. You never know. You could have the kid that, was...
Well, change Eddie's. You got to meet Slayer in 91.
I got to meet Slayer.
I mean, that's huge. They didn't have to pay for it, but it's the fact that he waited out there and it just happened.
Yeah.
So.
And it does change people's life. And, we do give them away as well. We always do contests, and we always not everybody can afford it. And so you shouldn't be limited. But to the people who can, I had one artist one time tell me, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't want to say who the artist was, but I'm like, why? Why don't you, we've got 100 people out here. They're paying, $2,000 a pop. Yeah. Why do you want to do it? He's like, because it's just these fucking guys that come in with their girlfriends and I'm getting them laid. And these guys are douchebags because they have all the money. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, but then he's got to say he or she has their money. And it's like, they just paid you to hang out with their girlfriend.
It's true. It's weird. It's so weird. But it's a good spot to be.
That's cool. I like it.
What's the best place around the world that you've traveled to?
So hard to answer that question.
What's the weirdest? Okay, let me rephrase that.
Weirdest thing
I've
eaten?
Weirdest? Nah, I got some weird stories about that. You ever been to India?
No, I haven't. That's one of the only places I haven't been.
That is one place that, as a TM, I used to triple my wage. I used to say, okay, cool. You want to go to Mumbai? 3 times the price. I am never going back there. And no offense to India.
No offense.
No offense to India at all. It's just the ability to work and manage around with artists in the music industry there. The music industry there is a clusterfuck at best.
Tip just about India that I know is I had a stadium artist a couple years ago go over to Mumbai, and we didn't settle before the show, and we never got paid. And it was a massive, massive pop star. You can figure out who. And it was, us and a big promoter went back and forth, and finally it's like, and they're like, you always have to get paid in advance. I'm like,
before you get on the plane.
Oh, we got half or something, right? But like, it's still half was a lot. It's like, I don't know. And I've never gone because I don't want to. I was just scared of getting sick.
Yeah,
people I've heard stories. And
I got kind of sick.
Yeah, but if you go to places that you have to get a malaria shot, then
like I've done tons of shows in South Africa, and you got to get a malaria shot going down there. Or you take the pills. Yeah, take the malaria pills. I've done shows in Madagascar. That was one of the weirdest. I did one in Port Louis, right off the coast there too, for a private show. Definitely one of the weirdest shows I've ever done in my life. I'm sitting there sound checking a microphone. There's fucking monkeys running around in the trees in front of me.
See, that's just cool.
And you say it's cool until the monkeys are like sitting there like eye dogging you, and you're like, is this fucking monkey gonna jump on me right now?
Bite me? Something.
I'm like, what the fuck? But I mean, like, there are definitely weird places. I mean, Brazil, the coolest, I think the coolest venue I've ever done is in Brazil, Green Valley nightclub. Have you ever heard of that?
Where is that?
Florianopolis? I want to. Florianopolis. Yeah.
I've been to Florianopolis, but I don't. No, that was Porto Alegre. I don't know. They kind of all blend together. I don't.
This was it. We had 3 shows that night, and we were doing one festival and another festival, and then we ended up in Green Valley, and I was like, okay, cool, Green Valley. What the hell is this place? And sun's coming up. We get there, it's completely dark. Sun's coming up, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in the middle of a fucking rainforest.
Oh yeah,
6,000 people too. And this venue got hit, I think 2 or 3 months ago, by a big storm disaster, and it took the roof off the fucking place.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, but honestly, one of the coolest venues that I've ever been to was that. Just mere fact that I did not know I was in the middle of the rainforest.
That's really cool.
And then it comes up, and you're like, oh. But there's a lot of cool places like that down south.
Yeah, there's. I mean, so many of the big cities, and touring, when you go in and out, you're like, it's almost like being in prison. You don't see a lot, so it's the days off, and it's like, going back to, I love Asia. There's the city, the food and the culture, and the further you get away from the big cities, the better it is. I feel, where you can't figure anything out, you can't read the menus, and but yeah, it's hard to. People ask me, "What's your favorite place?" I mean, I don't know. It's like there's things I like about every. I love Tel Aviv. I've been a couple times. The food, the culture, the I'm an Irish kid from Boston, but like going over to Israel, it's just like it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
like just the way that everybody is, and
There's not like one thing that you see it's on the itinerary and you're like, man, yeah, we're going back there. That's not like the city that you see.
Tokyo, Tel Aviv, Rio de Janeiro. All the those are like, even London. I gotta go to every London show. It's like going to New York or LA.
Yeah. It's weird to say London.
Not
it's
like
just like
Nebraska.
home now.
What was that?
Not like Nebraska.
Yeah.
Omaha's pretty cool.
Yeah. It has its time.
It's it's easy to get around. You're in the middle. But those I liked. This is a weird one. Toronto.
I was gonna say either Montreal, Toronto, or the big ones, because old Montreal's awesome with the cobblestone roads and everything.
I'm not a big fan of Montreal. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you go there in the middle of winter? Is that why?
No, I think Toronto. It's so polarized because Toronto is one of the best cities to tour. It's just the fans, right? Whenever you do a Toronto show,
they come out.
And they're like, it's like going to Japan. Like, they're fanatic about the music.
Every show sells out. You know it's going to be a big number.
Yeah, you know that it's going to do well for your artist, and they're so fucking cool.
Yeah, they're all nice.
Yeah, that's so nice. It. Then you get to Montreal and you got to deal with the French Canadians. No, I'm
my
sorry.
my mom's French Canadian. I get it. I understand it.
I love Montreal.
I'm like, I don't speak French. I'm sorry. They're like, huh?
Yeah, and they can usually speak English, but they don't want to. And it's
it's like the French.
Yeah,
yes. I know. Trust me. I used to have to work. I commuted from London to Paris once a week, twice a week.
Channel or boat?
Oh, definitely channel.
Okay,
God, no. Boat? No way.
And,
the ferry's what? 4
Parlez-vous
hours?
français?
No.
No?
Not at all. And that was the problem.
Yeah.
I got hired because I was an American guy with 2 passports that can go around the world and not have to fuck around with visas.
Yeah.
And then they wanted an American guy they could talk to and hang out with. And I was working for a lot of rock bands, and I wanted to get into the DJ thing. And I said to him, I was joking around with him. I was like, thank God you're fucking cool, because I would have never worked for the French in my entire life. I said,
We got some shade over here.
Oh, those UK boys, they cash the shade on those French, man.
Oh, yeah. Go. I know. My accent doesn't really.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing traveling around the world where you see, like, obviously we have massive issues here domestically about like different people and races and cultures, and like, but you go into like, you know, France and they're like the Spanish, and you go over to, you know, England and they're like the Turks, and it's just like all these different things. And you're like, wow, the world in their bubble and how it's, you know, that's a whole nother conversation, I'm sure. But
I mean, it's true though. The cultural aspect of everything, like just in California, you know. Fuck those Portland people.
The Bay Area people talk crap about us being from Sacramento.
Yeah,
you know, it's like,
I get shit for being from New York.
Yeah, well, that's easy to do. So
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, you guys don't know how to say the word coffee, so it's okay.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Well, I used to get shit in England for not being able to say half this stuff. They're like, oh, they can't understand me anyways.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just people.
I know.
What have you been watching on Netflix? Anything on there? Come on, there's all kinds of time to watch TV. So
You know, it's funny. Like, I put it on the background and I'll watch it some. But going back to your travel commercial, your travel comment about not traveling in food, and this is the weirdest thing. Like, I've gone through all these different food documentaries, and I just watched, like, I binge watched Somebody Feed Phil. Like, and he just flies around.
That's a great one.
Everyone loves Raymond. Like, I was like, this guy's so dorky. And I'm like, man, I actually really like him a lot. And then I'm like watching 10 episodes in a row, and I'm like, man.
Did you watch the Zac Efron one?
I don't think I've gotten there yet. No.
You should watch it. You would never. Again, we talked about this on previous stuff, but you would never guess that Zac Efron would actually have insight into something cool happening in the world. But Darren's with him, and it's like really good, and actually, it's not bad. So you should check it out.
Do you realize Efron's probably going to run for president in like 10 years?
Probably.
He will be.
I mean, the way politics are here.
The Reaganite.
Exactly.
He'll be the Reaganite.
We're going to have Efron.
But yeah, so I've been watching that, you know, not as much TV as I have been listening to records and stuff. Like, I try to, you know, I found myself at the beginning of this whole COVID thing watching the news, and I turn that off, and I'll watch a little bit, but I gotta, you know, you gotta kind of get your head out of it.
Yeah, I keep telling people NPR, man. It's the only thing that's boring, but at least it's straight on, and that's the news.
I'll do CNBC with a little bit of, you know, stock stuff. But
I was gonna say, you gotta watch how the money's going.
Watch the money. You know, it's back to the profit. You know, Camping World.
That's a great show. Yeah. I've hit that and about 800,000 other companies.
Yeah, not a lot of other stuff though. No, I kind of just.
Well, Marcus is an interesting guy. I bumped into him in Chicago a couple years ago.
Oh, Marcus?
Yeah. We were just sitting at a diner, and he walks in, and standing right there waiting for a table. I'm like, oh, Marcus, what's up? He's like, hi. And then he just, man, that's my experience. Whatever. It's like, you're worth like $30 billion.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Buy me a boat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I watch a lot of Family Guy, too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I watch.
Nice. Yeah. Not nostalgia Simpsons stuff, just straight Family Guy?
I like Family Guy. I like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know I like Family Guy.
Are you new Family Guy or old Family Guy?
I prefer the one where it doesn't look like they're all shaken. Like,
okay.
I like a little bit newer.
Gotcha.
The old ones, the voices are weird, and you know, it's like a different show.
Because like now he essentially, I think it was publicly said, I'm going to do anything I can to see if this FCC will cut me off. So I'm going to say the worst things possible and just go with it, which is awesome.
Yeah, the show can be offensive.
Howard Stern, he tried that too. And look.
Yeah, but look at South Park. I mean, I don't know how much worse you can get than South Park gets. They get it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like how far can you push it? Well, fucking go for it. Honestly, I'm one of the biggest fans of Howard Stern.
Oh, I love Stern.
Like,
yeah.
And with the movie Private Parts, have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah, of course. I saw it in theaters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, I don't know, just the way that he's kind of formed his whole life. I can't speak more highly of that guy.
Paul Giamatti made that movie. It was a great movie.
Yeah, he did. It was great.
Yeah.
Another thing I've been watching too is a Game Over, a thing on video games. I watched that.
The origination of Nintendo and Sega and Atari.
Yeah,
that was great. I watched that too.
I have a little bit left, I think, but like, yeah, made it up through,
Are you up
Dreamcast, and which I actually have a Dreamcast in box still at home. I don't know what to, I was just like, oh yeah, because I had it, like if somebody gave it to me and I never really used it, and it's all brand new, and I'm like, I need to get some games and fire it up.
Do you play video games now? Yeah,
A little bit. I have a Xbox and I have an Oculus, and so the Oculus I just got over quarantine. Just kind of.
So what's your game of choice?
I don't have one yet, and it's literally I got it like 2 weeks ago. So on
Xbox though.
On Xbox, Call of Duty. Before that, I was playing Red Dead. Just kind of more single shooter games than say sports games.
You should jump on some Destiny.
Star Wars.
Get messed up.
Star Wars? I love Star Wars.
Huh. Yeah.
I love the Star Wars game.
Destiny's great.
Yeah.
That's all me and Andrew Rush,
Mm-hmm.
We just used to murk each other. It was great. It was just a good game. I just never got into Call of Duty though.
Oh, also Fallout.
It's fun.
I've been playing Fallout too.
Okay,
Fallout's just kind of can sit there for hours and just like zone out. Yeah. You just go around collecting bottle caps and shit.
It's escapism.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing as music and video games and movies and TV. It's all connected,
Yeah. It's interesting. Don't fall into the Fortnite trap. Just don't do it.
No.
Do it.
We had done VIPs for the Fortnite stuff out in Queens last year. It was pretty phenomenal. I didn't go, but our team in New York ran it, and it was a big live.
You didn't have anything to do with the marshmallow thing, did you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, William Morris did, but not us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What was the other one that they did? Travis Scott, right?
Yeah, Travis Scott
was the big one. How many did he have? 40 million or something?
Something crazy, yeah.
40 million people logging in for that thing.
Nuts.
Which is
I don't know. I gotta fact check that.
Check the fact. It sounds right though.
I think it was like something stupid.
And I've never played Fortnite, so I don't completely understand it. It's like I'm starting to be like a little checked out, like grandparents being like, "Oh yeah, the Fortnite kids are in there with Travis Scott." Like, I don't even know what that means.
It's the same thing with like when we're talking about MySpace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You say to a kid MySpace now, they're like, "Oh, they're like what? What's that?"
All I can think of is Hollywood Undead when you say MySpace. That's just what I think.
I toured with a MySpace band back in the day that used to get so much shit. I'm gonna do a on this, okay? And two artists that used to get unbelievable amount of shit, but
Broken Side. I love them though.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Were the nicest guys to me.
Michael's great.
Mike is great. Ant's great. Jay was great. Like they were like the coolest guys to me. And I remember sitting there. We were in a van once in Albuquerque right before we were going on tour with them. I'm like, how many fucking are these plays real? Like, yeah, we just don't get it, man. Like people like it. But in their head, we're going off and selling out 1,500 on their own back.
Right.
It wasn't, there was no booking agent.
They're just out booking their own shows?
They were booking their own shows. We were traveling around in a van with this sketchy-ass trailer that used to jackknife all the fucking time. And I met him in the UK via you.
Oh.
Actually, which is kind of a
I don't
weird,
remember that.
Small world.
I'm glad that I did that. So.
Yeah. And then they took me out around. They were like, hey, you're a cool guy. We'll take you around in the US. And then they introduced me to Jeffree Star.
Oh, yeah.
And I traveled with Jeffree for a while.
Who's now a bazillionaire. Congratulations, Jeffree.
Yeah, good job.
Good job, bro. And it was funny because Jeffree always used to. I basically said to Jeffree the first day we toured, I was like, Jeff, I was like, yo, this is the shit. This is me. Take it, leave it, like it. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, what do you want? Never had a problem with anything with him. He was always the coolest dude to me.
Yeah.
And then now he's got that MAC cosmetic
killing it.
That's like destroying.
Killing it. Yeah. You ask kids today about MySpace and they're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, never mind Friendster. Like, or like, like just BlackBerry. Like people just don't. Yeah. It's so.
BlackBerry's coming back. They got the new foldable phone too. Did you see that? The new flat
BlackBerry.
It's a regular phone, but you can fold it in half.
I have one here in the office. I have the old side click wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going through my stuff the other day, and I pulled it. I'm like, this is pretty tight, actually. You know, like
You miss it because then it had the original keyboard. And
Yeah.
like you had to hit the numbers.
Yeah,
man.
that messenger thing. I remember that.
BBM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was
But you could
dope.
only talk to people that had BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
you can download the BBM app though if you
Oh,
have
yeah?
some friends in Canada.
It's like ICQ back
Do
in the day.
people
or whatever it
still
was.
own? I don't think I've actually seen
Canadians.
a BlackBerry.
Canadians,
Oh, yeah.
they do.
BlackBerry's
There's-
still out there.
It's a Canadian company, and then there's still a lot of people out there that it blows my mind. I didn't know there's only an Android and iPhone. That's it.
Yeah. I honestly can't remember the last time I saw a BlackBerry. It's pushing.
They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah.
It's like the aliens. They're out there.
Tom DeLonge was right the entire time. Everybody was giving him shit, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
hey, aliens exist.
Nice.
He wrote a song about it too,
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah.
Well, either way, man, it was awesome having you on the show. Wish you obviously the best. Congrats on all these
Thank you.
success that you've been having. We ask everybody on the way out, is there anything you want to plug, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to say?
No, just thank you guys for having me. It's always not like I've done this with you before, so I can't say it's always a pleasure. This one was a pleasure.
But you're welcome back
So,
anytime
yeah,
you
yeah.
want. Talk all the shit you want, man. It'd be great.
Check out Wonderful Union. Go
Yeah.
get a VIP pass.
Go buy
Yeah.
go buy a Pee Wee Herman thing. We got a bunch of. We just launched this store.
Oh, Paul Herman's fantastic.
Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens. Paul Herman. God,
Paul
Rubens.
Paul is amazing. Yeah, his store's up. Go check it out. Peewee.com.
Cool.
We'll do that. All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
See you guys.